At Cleaner Marketing, for those who maybe have been a client, but maybe also for those who are not clients of ours, one of the things that we love to do is we want to be innovative all the time. We're constantly evolving. We're attempting to grow with the industry, and we really want to answer some of the problems that we know clients are facing directly. One of the first problems that we wanted to solve was, hey, what do we do with our client base? How do we really attract them back into what we're doing? The second problem we really saw that was out the industry is, man, how do I get new customers? How do I grow more? How do I get better leads that are coming through? But then we saw this other problem start to rise, and many people were talking about it. As you know, Cohen owns his own dry cleanings or dry cleaners, and so he faces the same issues day to day. And it was, man, what do we do to develop our route? And so we've connected with some of the brightest in the industry of like, hey, is this a problem that you guys see? How are we trying to solve it? About 6 months ago, we had a very important conversation that kind of really sparked Cohen to go on this journey of developing what could be an answer to this specific problem of how to develop the route. And so now we're 6 months later. We feel like we've developed a really great product, one that we really want to showcase very well to each and every one of you to see if it's something that is going to answer that problem for you on your end of how to grow this route, hopefully make it $1 million route business. And so without further ado, I just want to introduce Owen. For those who do not know him, the owner of Cleaner Marketing, and excited to hear what he has to share with us today. So, Cohen, we're going to turn it over to you. Welcome, and knock it out of the park.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate the hype up there, and I think Justin hit the hammer on the head, which is for those of you guys who haven't met me before that are on the call. My name's Cohen, and I bought my dry cleaner, Sage Cleaners, back 1 year before COVID, and I got into this industry from the UPS store business, largely because I saw routes. And, at the time, I think anyone who was back here in 2019, 2020, I saw lockers and I was like, man, like this idea of dry cleaning being delivered to your door is a really untapped market. So I dived in and bought a super ran down dry cleaning operation. And man, I got a real world experience on what it's like in the day to day of being a dry cleaner, turning around an old dilapidated plant and learning how to grow a dry cleaner. And one of the biggest problems I had pretty early on is figuring out how to grow my route business. There was a lot of good advice out there in the world, and there was a lot of really bad advice. And it was really hard to quantify and know what exactly I should be doing if I want to get $1 million a year route business, a $2 million a year route business. And I'm sure a few people, feel free to throw it in the chat if you've done something that was just borderline asinine, that you were convinced by somebody was a great idea of how to grow your route business. And so I know I've spent tens of thousands of dollars on things that someone convinced me was a good idea, and there really wasn't any solid data behind it. But I would call two or three other people, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, this shtick, if you will, is a way that I grew my business." I went out there and spent tens of thousands of dollars or maybe thousands of dollars and months of my time only to realize it didn't really work as well as it did. And so here in the last 6 months, we were really, anyone who knows us, I'm a serial learner. And so we spent a lot of time with some people. A little kudos and a shout out to the route pros who have been more than willing to give some advice and counsel as we were asking a lot of questions about growing routes. And shout out to Dave with Maverick Dry Cleaners, been super helpful. And just a lot of other dry cleaning operations doing a few $1 million a year, just asking like, hey, how'd you do it? What were the problems you had? And then really just we think we built a software tool that can help build a level of accountability. So let me share my screen real quick. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm super distractible. So I threw together a little bit of a thought process. Okay, sorry about that. So here we go. All right. Hopefully you guys can see my screen. If not, just Justin, Sam, just let me know. But so this is so the way that the route building tool is going to work is you're actually going to have a way to be able to log into this via mobile app. That's primarily going to be used by your team that's going out and actually executing what we're going to call campaigns. And then you're going to have a online dashboard that you log into where you're actually going to be able to see a summary of what's been going on in the last day, week, month, and how you're performing compared to your goals. So you can see here, I just now have logged in. I'm logged into my dashboard. And one of the first things I'm going to be able to see is some of the most recent activity. So if you look at this map, this is Sage Cleaner's account. And so you can see here, I've got 1,473 active route customers. And in the last week, I've had 8 new leads. So basically, I've gone to 8 different houses and done these different techniques. So utilizing this map is a good starting point of like, hey, where might I want to go in and start with this marketing campaign? So like if I'm trying to add a lot more density, maybe it makes sense to come over here into the Riverview area. We can go and look at, hey, where are my existing customers? And one fun thing about this, while I'm nerding out on some of the specifics, when you go to zoom in on people's houses, we have our technology is not only going to tell you where the customers are, but it's going to have the pinning down to the rooftop. So it's not just a, hey, they're in this ballpark area. Our software is automatically pointing exactly. You can see here that this customer is at 13,146, and you can see it's right there on the top of that person's house. So maybe in this area, we're looking at this and going, hey, it would be great if we added some more saturation to the routes because, yeah, we've got these couple customers in this neighborhood, but we don't have nearly, it would be great to have a lot more density across these neighborhoods that are maybe high income. So let's say, hey, we've looked at our map. We've decided we want to, we kind of understand where everything's going on. So let's go and create a new campaign to start growing our route business. So if you click on campaigns, you'll see here that I've got a couple active campaigns running. But let's say, just for this example, we'll say, hey, we're going to start a new campaign. I want to start something new. You can hit the new campaign button. And you can see by default, we've got a couple campaigns pre-populated up here for you. So let's say that we're going in and we want to do a new mover campaign. So I want to go and drop off a gift at all of the homes of a new mover. So we could come in and type in new mover 2026, and maybe we're going to do this for all of our routes. It's going to ask us to create a promo code, even suggest one if we don't, if we're not feeling creative for the day. So it's letting us know that we haven't used this one before, so we're good to go.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
If you can just increase your page size a little bit, that would be great. Just for some folks that can't see it fully. Thank you.
Perfect. How's that?
Perfect.
All right, perfect. So we're looking at new movers. One of the first things when we start this campaign initially is going, hey, how far would you like to go back as far as selecting people who have purchased houses? So maybe we're going to go back, let's call it 60 days. And then we can choose if we want to use people that are in our route zone, or if we want to just target people in a specific zip code. So let's say maybe I only want to do the new movers that are in an uber high income area for this campaign. We can go in and start adding some of the zip codes that are really high income and have them in a specific campaign. For this one, we're just going to keep it really simple. We'll just hit use our service routes, which is where all of my routes are. Can hit continue. And then we can continue to filter down to make sure that you're honing in on the right customers. Because if a house in South Tampa sold for $200,000, the probability that they're a route customer for us is not great. So there's a couple different ways that you can filter. Let's say in Tampa, I want to do homes that have sold for at least $1 million. And we'll say, hey, maybe I don't want to do multifamily units, but I want to do townhouses, single family, and condos. Maybe even we'll exclude condos for this example. But you can see here we can adjust whatever parameters we want to do. And then as we go in and hit continue, it's going to confirm, hey, we want to pull people from the last 60 days that are on our service route that are in the $1 million range. We hit continue. It's just going to ask us for some of those specifics. Once again, you don't have to use some of these pieces, but we certainly highly recommend, especially if you're working with Cleaner Marketing as an existing customer. You can type in your tracking number. So we can type in, hey, where if somebody scans the QR code on this marketing piece, where do you want them to go? Once again, if you're working with us, we'll probably provide you with a dedicated landing page that's built to convert. So we'll call this, test 1, 2, 3. To let it know if you want this to be a short-term campaign, you can let it know when you want it to end. Otherwise, you can leave it open. And then let's say this new mover gift, let's say it's going to cost us $2.25 to do. And then this can be an estimate right now of saying like, hey, the goal is going to be to do 5,000 of these. It's going to go ahead and let you know what to expect for a budget. Because once again, you got to go and pay and put all this stuff together. And we want to drive around our return on investment. So we're going to get a little summary page walking us through all the information that we put in here, even giving us a little QR code summary of how it's going to work, where it's going to go. You can see there's some attribution pieces inside of here. And then we'll hit create campaign. And then once again, it's going to spin around. It's going to take a few minutes to start populating all of this data. So instead of waiting the couple minutes to populate on this one, I'll just go ahead and pull up a campaign that we've made before in the past. So you can see I've created this one on the 15th. And here's what you're going to see. You're going to see what we want to make this as simple as humanly possible for people. So we've taken all the different ways that you could acquire a lead, that kind of stuff, pushed it to the background, and we're going to show you something really simple. How many new mover gifts have you dropped off? Of those number of new mover gifts that you've dropped off, how many of them have given you their contact information but haven't spent any money with you or haven't signed up in one of the POSs yet? And then once they have signed up, we're going to tell you the number of people that have signed up and then the total amount of spending that they've done since signing up. And by giving you this total number of customers, we're going to be looking at the total number of customers, total amount of revenue, and then we're going to be assigning the cost per drop that we've done. And that's going to be able to show you an active return on investment that you're getting for your business. So once again, if you want to come down here and review how that process has went, you can see here, I pulled the exact same report that we did in our example in the past. And you can see I've got 2,100 new movers across all of the greater area where we serve our routes with an average home price of 1.1 million. Then once again, if you want to zoom in and kind of hone in on a specific area, you can come down here and see right around our office here, which houses have sold and how much those houses have sold for. So once again, rooftop level accuracy, you can see this house sold for $820,000, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. And we've got it built into our system, ready for somebody to go out and drop off new mover gifts at these locations. If you don't like maps, that's okay. We've got a list view right here where you can see all of the information. And yeah, hopefully all of this makes a lot of sense and is intuitive. Now we can just continue to take this same example of what you're seeing here. Once again, I'll show you the last 10 drops. Just a quick view. I don't think it's extremely important. Well, I think everything in here is pretty great. I don't want to take up all of y'all's day though. We've got a summary here of exactly what was done, and you can filter that by the last. You can see it via the map view or a list view of what was done, what things were dropped off, and then what the status was, and or any notes that they put inside of here. So once again, you can see here, hey, we did this South Tampa campaign. Their status is still set as a lead. Your users actually have the ability to take photos. So you can see here in my testing, took a nice screenshot of Alex Hermosi doing a quote. So anybody who likes a good Alex Hermosi quote, shout out there. So you can see here, I put in some notes saying laundry test. This is the address that I did that. Here's the image that I took of doing that drop. And then once again, maybe even we called that person and updated them. You can update the status of that customer right here. Moving on, there's also, once again, you can see all of this. You can break it down by campaign. If you wanted to break it down by campaign, you can break it down by who was the person that did it, how many customers won. You also have access to a lot of analytics. So once again, I find it to be super helpful to be able to just take some data and have it all in one house. So we've created really route-centric data from your POSs that you might want to see. So right here, we've got, essentially what was your revenue by month, how many new customers did you get by month, and your average ticket for those customers. We also have a nice little chart of how many new customers you're getting see if you're on trend for where you want to be. You can spin across here, and a couple other reports. This was something, yeah, we're going to be creating more and more. We're just looking for data and insights from you guys on what you'd like to see. But I know for me, like the idea of getting a customer to 5 visits is really important. And I noticed over the last year that my route really hasn't grown like it has in previous years. And whenever I looked at this customer retention, it's basically showing me, hey, for the month of November, we got 30 new signups. That's great. And so why are we not growing as much as we are? Well, one answer to that, and I think all of our default answer is like, hey, well, instead of 30 new customers, we need 60 new customers. But the alternative option to that is, hey, of those 30 customers who signed up, how many times did they come in? Did they fall off and potentially use another service? And for those of you guys who are data people, you can see our average long term of keeping customers to 5 visits on the routes is actually very, very high. It's 67%. But you can see here in the last year, that even, it goes down as low as 25%. And so I don't want to give you, so I did something kind of dumb with our route that we're fixing now that we've seen this data. I won't, I don't want to dog anybody's strategy, but I will say, I think keeping it simple, that Monday, Thursday, Tuesday, Friday, that most of us do, that there's a lot of merit to keeping it simple and keeping people on the Monday, Thursday, Tuesday, Friday versus trying to do something fancy. So you can pull this data back as far as you want and actually see how this populates all the way through. So we do have analytics here for you. We've got a couple of other pieces, but without, what I'll do now is, this is kind of what you're seeing on the back end. So we'll flip now into what customers or what your drivers or what you would be using in the field. So we're gonna have a mobile app. Hopefully everybody can see this okay. I know it's like a little shot of my actual phone. So it's a little bit smaller. But so like this is what you're actually seeing on my phone right now. We've got a route builder app and be able to log in and say, hey, like my goal for today, my goal
Hey,
for this
Cohen,
week. Yeah.
is it possible to hit that green with, or is that just on your phone, the green button, the phone view? Will that pop it? Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Ah, hey, look at that. Thank you guys for keeping me straight with the technology. So you can see here, like I've logged in as a user. I'm seeing like, hey, what's been the goal that's been set for me today to go out and do? What's my goal for this week? And how many new customers am I getting? You can also see any number of the campaigns and kind of a leaderboard of all of the different users that are going out and doing these things. And if you want to, we'll continue that new mover example of, hey, like I want to go drop off a gift. For those of you guys who are looking for your nugget for the day, I mean, we're really excited about the idea of going out here and working with new movers. Depending on who we've talked to, we've pulled a lot of data from different people that have been active proponents of that strategy, and people are pulling anywhere from 5 to as high as 10-15% conversions on high income houses that are new movers, dropping off a gift, potentially even knocking on those doors, talking to the customers, welcoming them to the neighborhood, letting them know what you do and how you do it, has been, generally received as and based on all the data we've seen, as being a profitable endeavor. So let's click on that new mover gift. So you can see here that if I want to start going and dropping off all the new mover gifts, I can come into the campaigns. We'll see all the different campaigns that we've set up. I'll click on this new mover one. It's going to give me all the statistics on the campaign and some AI insights down here about how well it's going and if there's any advice on how to handle this. But let's say I want to just go ahead and get started with it. We'll click on this and you can see all of those customers that have new movers right here in a list. You can also see it based on a map, all of those new movers. And so once again, right here. So this example, I'm using like a version of my phone that's hosted online, so it thinks I'm in Sacramento. But let's say like I want to, like it would be a mess for me to go and just start going frantically, and I could potentially be ping-ponging around all over the place. So let's say, hey, I want to do this as efficiently as humanly possible. I mean, one, you could be looking at the map and choosing people, and I think that's great. But those of you guys who know me, things have to be kept really simple. So I don't even want to just do this. I want it to be fully optimal. So you can click on this route mode and it'll actually give you the option to optimize a route to be able to go and hit customers. So once again, it'll give you a default where you can say, hey, I want to go to people in the 1 mile, 7 mile radius around me right now. You could even also go in though, and you can see here it allows us the option to drop a pin. You could actually come in and drop a pin in a specific part of town that you want to do these new mover gifts on. It'll pull the ones that are in that area of, once again, 1, 2, 5, 7 mile. Or, if you want to just go full loco and just hit, hey, I want to optimize all of these. You can go in and just go ahead and hit optimize stops. And what it's going to do is it'll take all of these stops that you have from where you're currently at and where you want to land, and it'll create an automatically optimized route to be able to go and hit all of those different homes. So hopefully this is an exciting process for you guys. Hopefully now you can kind of see how, as you're going and dropping off these different pieces or doing these things, it's giving you an opportunity for a certain level of one, insight into making sure that your team that's out there in the field is doing what they need to do, as well as giving you a formulated strategy to have a clear return on investment on what you're doing. I guess the last thing is like, hey, if you, let's say like you want to go and talk to people directly at their homes. And so you talk to them and this person said, hey, I'm super interested. Maybe you can come back next week when my wife's here. Let's say you wanted to add that as a new stop. This is what that would look like. You can see here, I'm right here in this little spot. I can just go ahead and hit plus, and then come in here. It's got the address pre-populated. It's got our campaign. At this point, you can now hit and take a photo if you want to take a photo, or you can add any of those notes to be able to tag this customer so you can go back and filter back to go to the ones that you've gone to before. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this example. I'm sure there's a lot of questions. I feel like this is something really different than what we've typically been used to in the past. And so if you, Justin, you guys tell me, I think we'll, certainly the primary focus for today is focusing on this route building tool, something we're really excited about, something we're very energized about. We also have a second tool, which is going to be coming a little bit later. Justin, Sam, you guys tell me, you want me to kind of give a slight 2-minute tease to that
maybe
one?
we can give the teaser to close off. Let's do that. But I'm going to turn this over to Sam. He's going to go through the queue, the questions that came through. A lot of good questions, but I did, before he actually mentioned that, Cohen, I thought it would be good. Most everything that we have ever rolled out, we've really had a lot of good data to support it. And I thought at least a question we could start with was, we are rolling this out at a very beginning stage, right? We know that in the industry, certain campaigns were, told that they work well. We just want to know, okay, do they really work that well, and how well do they work? And let's have a platform that will show that. So maybe we can answer that question first, and then Sam's going to walk you through. There's quite a few questions that we have coming through, and then we'll end with maybe the cost of it toward the end.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I mean, so first off, I think anybody who's on this call who knows me knows I have a really, really strong conviction. It just, I guess backing up, I've been the dry cleaner who has been told like, hey, you need to do this if you want to grow your business, and you need to do that. And I've went out and just lit my money on fire. And this is a hard industry. I've been a part of a couple different businesses now in my life. You can see dry cleaning, and my children have given me some grace over the last year. But man, anyone who's on this call right now who owns a dry cleaner, I mean, I think anyone will tell you this is not easy work. It is right, and for those of us who are having a hard time growing your business, like you just want to do something to grow. And so I know that pain as much as anyone else does. And so I just have a strong conviction that if I don't feel within a 90+% degree of certainty that something's going to make you $3 or more for every dollar you put into it, I don't want to recommend it to you, whether it's our tool, our tactics, or anything else. So while we are really excited about this, the good news is the more people that get on this tool, the better our data is going to be able to guide everyone towards data. We're still we want to move very slowly and strategically to make sure that even if you're the first user on this tool, that we still have that 90+ degree sense of confidence that you're going to get a very positive return on investment. So before, I mean, one, we could talk about bringing people on, but we actually have at Sage, I have actually taken my current head of operations for our company, a guy named Andre. People who are utilizing this tool will be, I'm sure, hearing from him a lot as we go on and continue kind of weekly calls with the users of this tool. So I've actually taken my head of operations and I've now put him in the role of directly overseeing the growth of our route business. Because at Sage, we have a 2026 goal of increasing our route business by over $1 million. So he's now, instead of focusing on the entire company, he's focusing just on growing the route business through this. So every tactic before our first customer gets on this, he's out there in the weeds, starting all of these campaigns, running them right now, because we want to be able to give you guys real world data, not as a random, software company, but as a user and an owner of this tool, so we can show you exactly what's working, how it's working. Candidly, if something's not going to work, I want to use my money and light it on fire to be able to make sure I can tell you what doesn't work. Because I can guarantee you, for every 1 or 2 products you've seen that have worked at Cleaner Marketing for dry cleaners, there's another 4 or 5 that have just colossally wasted money and not worked to the degree that we want it to. So that's how we're going to do it. But we're also only going to, I think Sam and Justin will get into the mechanics. We're also going to be rolling this out as a closed beta. So we're not going to open it up to the entire world. We're going to be letting about 2 to 3 dry cleaners a week come on as we roll it into our closed beta coming up here in the next couple weeks.
And here's something too, Cohen, that I just want to make sure we put out there. We've always stood by this, that whatever price we have had any of our clients jump in at, we never have made that additional price go up over time, which has kind of been our standard, right? So even though our pricing has gone up for new clients, anybody that's been with us for some time have continued to pay the same price. So that will be the case with this as well. But all right, maybe Cohen, we can do it this way. We do have multiple questions, and I know that you can get into the weeds on many of these questions. But maybe
20-second answers or less.
Yeah, maybe we could just treat it like rapid fire, where you give the answer. If we need a follow-up, we certainly will allow them to have a follow-up question to that. But I think it will allow us to get through all of these questions. But they seem very legitimate. Like there's a lot of good questions that we have here. So I'm going to let Sam kind of ask these questions. You may need to share your screen. You may not. So it's up to you if you want to stop sharing right now and then reshare when you start answering.
Okay, I'm going to try and compile these because some of them are similar. And before I get to this first one, thank you guys for attending too. We've hit a lot more than we thought that we're going to join here. So we hit max capacity. So that means a lot to us. So Thank you again for that. Hey. Max capacity. Max capacity.
We broke the subscription. Actually, Sam came to me and it's a sign of my cost effectiveness. He wanted to increase the quota. And I was like, no, we're not spending the extra money. so
the quota for the subscription, the software.
First of all, you guys are doing great with this rapid fire. So if we want to stay on track, that would be awesome.
Hey, go ahead.
Appreciate that. Okay. All right. Randy had a good question. Are you using a pixel on a landing page with the QR code? Does that collect any data from the prospect if they do not fully sign up?
Yeah, great question. We do have a pixel. We have a retargeting. So if as you get more advanced in this tool, retargeting that customer via Meta ads and Google ads is definitively on the pipeline.
Okay. Ankit, does this add a stop on route to do these drops? Does this get implemented to the manifest basically?
It does not add them in your point of sale system. This is going to be a standalone tool. I think there's a strong argument to make a lot of sense for, like, let's say doing one of the strategies is the 5 houses around your driver's stop. If you also wanted to have that driver do the 5 around of that house, I think it would make a lot of sense to have the mobile app and just switch from whichever POS application you're using to our campaign to mark the 5 around of that house is done.
Great. Chinudu had a good question, but this would be related more to the point of sale you're using, Chinudu, that would do the optimizations for that physical route. So
Yeah, if you
Where are
just
you?
wanted to do the lead side, you can optimize the route of the lead side. But I mean, if you, once again, I'll probably apologize if there's somebody else I'm missing out there. But both Spot and Smart do such a great job of route optimization and running your route business. Those you should talk if you're not on one of those two POSs, you should reach out to both of them.
Okay. William had a good question. Well said. Where's the new mover list coming from? Is this outside this app, or is it pulling the data from somewhere else?
Well, you'll be happy to know I didn't go out and personally get it. Well, there's a couple places where we're pulling external data. So it's basically like a MLS vendor where we're using software to pull that data in real time about the new movers.
Okay.
But you don't have to go and pay for some third party tool. That's something that's taken care of in the app. You just click pull it for my area, and it's going to pull all the new movers.
Okay. Let's see here. What is the typical customer acquisition cost? Dave had this question. Oh, let me share it here. What's the customer acquisition cost? Does this number include your charges and the cost of the drop-off gifts? How do we calculate that?
If you look inside of the campaign, that's a great question. I think there's a couple things there that cause me to be tempted to chase a rabbit, but I'm going to attempt not to. And so if you are looking here
That's what I'm
at
here
one
for,
of
Colin.
what was that?
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, exactly. So if you look here, you can see here I'm calculating an actual return on investment. The way that we're calculating customer acquisition cost inside of this tool for you is we're taking the total number of dropped items or the number of marketing events you've done by the cost that you've typed into our system to say, hey, it costed me for this campaign $2.50 to do this campaign. So $2.50 times the 7, that's going to give you your cost. And then we're taking the revenue, which is the order value of all the orders that have came in for that customer from your POS. And that's what's giving you your return on investment. So if the answer was inside of our tool, that's how the inside of the tool answer works. If you're talking industry wide, there's some great ways to pull what is the lifetime, the way that I look at growing my route business is, hey, what is the lifetime value of this customer going to be to my enterprise? And then secondly, how much is this customer going to spend in the first 60 days? And so I want to be able to acquire a customer where they're going to spend more revenue with me in the first 60 days than I had to pay to acquire them. And the lifetime value of the customer is 3 to 4 times what I'm paying to acquire the customer. And depending on so we're going to be aggregating that data. There's market specific answers, but I mean, I think it's pretty safe to say the lifetime value of a route customer is very high. I mean, it's going to be north of $500 anywhere in the United States.
Great. And Jeff has another good question. We'll probably do 2 more questions here. And then, Cohen, if you can tickle the ivories on the production tracker, that would be great.
Did you just say tickle the ivories? If you don't know what that means, Cohen, I think it just let people know about the next product too. Yeah.
He's going to be tickling the ivories.
I like the way Sam said it better.
Yes. So any questions that we don't answer just because we are on a little time crunch, thank you for being so engaging, guys. I will definitely have answered at the end or ship or send a message over to you with the answer. Jeff says, can that be integrated to the point of sale manifest so driver doesn't need to look at 2 tools? Great question.
Yeah, great question. I mean, I would say we're launching this as a minimum viable product, and we absolutely love our point of sale partners. So we're always going to be asking ourselves, how can we provide value to our customers on both of those point of sales? And then how can we provide value directly to Spot or to Smart, because those guys are the ones that make it happen and they have a complicated job. So we don't want to, so we'll certainly have those conversations both on the customer side and the POS side. As we are launching, no, they will not be available in the manifest for the driver. But we're certainly open to conversations, and we got great relationships with both of those guys. So
great. Garrett and Anket and like a number of other people have asked, let me pop this up. Where do they get the new mover gifts? How do they work with the collateral on this?
Yeah, great question. And also very self-serving. So thank you so much, Ankit, for doing that. For those of you guys who don't know, cleaner, so you have two options. There's nothing in here forcing you to work with us. Having said that, we are super biased in thinking that we're pretty awesome. So we do, if you guys see our office right now, we're actually up on a second floor. So directly underneath us, we have a giant print facility for anyone who hasn't came and seen us. So we have a big print shop with over $1 million worth of equipment downstairs. And so if Sam yells right now, hey, get a new mover for Anki, it could potentially be done within 24 hours. And it's done by our graphic design team. So our hope and desire would be, hey, as you sign up for the new mover gift, we could say, hey, we already print these new mover gifts for 100 plus dry cleaners, and this is the one that's working best. And when our graphic design team does it, we'll make sure that the tracking QR code and the tracking phone number are on the right piece. But having said that, we will, in our database that we're building to show you the tactics, we're going to have people uploading images of their gifts and their offers and what's working well for them, so you can have that data. For my new mover gift, it's actually in a bag. Inside of that bag is a letter. So hopefully you guys can see this okay. This is one that they printed for me downstairs. It's got like a little step logo with one color of sage. I like that a lot. Then the way that this letter works is inside of here is a picture of me and my family. And it basically just goes on to say like, hey, welcome so much to the neighborhood. I'm a part of the neighborhood too. This is my locally owned dry cleaning business, and we have a great route business. I just want to thank you for joining the neighborhood. And I included a gift for $35. Shout out to the Mavericks who gave us the idea for these golden tickets. These are super cool. I like these a lot. So we've got a golden paper with a gift card. Once again, on the gift card, it's got a promo code. You've got the QR code right here on the mailing piece that's got all the scanning specific information, reiterating the promo code. So certainly you can use your own print shop, but our team downstairs, they know dry cleaners, and they're happy to help you.
Yeah, and thanks, Maverick. Always great ideas coming out of Dave Hanna's camp over
Kurt,
there.
Actually, Kurt with the print, the golden ticket, he's going to do a free comforter cleaning to anybody that's a new customer too. So he's going to see how that works for him. So
okay, let's get one more question, and then the production tool, Cohen, if you want to just show a little bit of that. So, Kyle, does this tie in with Google Ads, or does your cleaner marketing platform make more sense for that?
I mean, two things. We asked ourselves the question of if we wanted to, so obviously we run Google Ads. We love Google Ads. For my dry cleaner, I spend, probably around $4 to $5 grand a month on Google Ads. So doing that within the context of our marketing agency definitely makes sense. Having said that, we will have it integrated inside of the tool shortly after launch. It syncs up really well in here, and it'll show you that exact same data. But for now, at launch point, we're going to keep them separately, largely because without getting way into the weeds of it, I think there's a strong argument to be made if you have a retail store to try to acquire that customer to the retail store first, and then take the retail customer and send them to the routes. If you have a good retail base, your overall customer acquisition cost, generally speaking, is less than going out and acquiring them directly onto the route when you're using Google and Meta ads.
Okay, Cohen, one last question here, and this is obviously a good question here. What is the pricing? What does this cost?
Great question. Do you guys want me to answer that? So
yeah, because discussion. I mean, this is a new product. We talked about it just recently, just to open up our conversation. We know that we're in partnerships with a number of different affiliates, and so we wanted to make sure that we honor the people that are in those groups. So yeah, I can go ahead and give them the price, I guess, and then that's where we're going to start at for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we have historically, for those of you guys who know cleaner marketing, we have launched products at truly laughable prices over the years. I remember my first DL West Expo show. I offered managed meta ads for $99 a month as an irresistible offer. And I am so happy no one took us up on that offer. So we do generally, I will warn people, I suspect our launch price will go up over time. So our plan for pricing right now is to have 2 tiers of this product, an entry level version of this product that allows you to be able to have the mobile app, have the dashboard in a very limited capacity that doesn't include things like new movers and Fiverr rounds. And so it just gives you a light access tool that's going to be priced per user at around $25 per user per month. I would my recommendation to anyone who's utilizing this tool is going to be to use the more elevated tier where there is more cost associated with running the platform regarding optimizations and new movers. That's going to be more of an enterprise level pricing, and we're going to be launching that at $499 a month. But I will be the first to say we had a hard conversation about it yesterday because I highly suspect that price will go up very, very quickly. But once again, we don't want to launch a product to the market without a strong comfort level and your clear return on investment. So the pricing on this tool will change as we get more validation on the ROI of the users.
And we're also going to be building a list. So I'll have a link that's going to show right here. You can actually click on that link on this screen, and it's going to take you to a form to give us any feedback. Obviously, we would love any feedback you guys give us. But if you'd like to get on that list for this closed beta as we roll it out to different cleaners, please feel free to click that list.
And the questions
that link
were not answered, you'll be able to
Yeah.
follow up with those?
Yep.
Okay. So Colin, I guess we only have a couple minutes left on this call. First of all, again, thank you to everybody that joined and stayed on for the entire call. It's pretty cool that you guys have shown the interest in this. We do think it's a great product. We think that it's only going to get better and evolve over time. But Colin, I do know that with the last 2 minutes, you have developed also a production tracking that has been beta tested by a number of our clients. Anything that you can share with that would be helpful, or that how people can maybe get more information on that if they're interested in kind of growing their efficiency in their production plant?
Yeah, definitely. So this is just a teaser, something coming at some point in the future. So one thing that we've been a little slower to roll this thing out, even though it's been a fully cooked product, is really, we just want to make sure that with all of our partners, that we are re-emphasizing how much we appreciate the value that they bring, and we don't want to step on anybody's toes. I'd love to show you. So this all started originally when I really was having production inefficiencies in my plant, and I was looking for a clean solution to be able to do that. And for at least what I was looking for, which is a really clean understanding of my labor cost in the production plant, and what the efficiency was per hour, I didn't see a tool out there that fully encompassed what I was trying to do. So enter what we're calling Production Pro. For me, I want to 1,000-foot emphasize over, this is in no way, shape, or form a replacement for any part of a point of sale system. This is, in my mind, built to be more of a plant management solution. I have a lot of pain points around making sure that the maintenance of my machines is being handled in the way that it is, that my employees are doing the to-do list of the things that they're supposed to do on a daily basis, and that they're being properly efficient. So you have an option of how to set this up, but the way that I have it set up in my plant is each pressing station has a touch screen directly above it that's running a screen, which I'll show you that in a second. And then you've got access to an enterprise level that's streaming this in real time. So this is to the second, showing what all is going on inside of the plant. So you can see what my efficiency is per hour across some of these different pieces. You can get efficiency percentages. We've got rankings, once again, real time, updating about every 3 to 5 seconds on what our efficiency is by employee, what the efficiency looks like by the hour, by certain jobs, by the overall job. You can change this by day. So you can see here, I'm actually looking at the number for January 20th. So this is an end of production day. And you can customize all of this. So we have a way to basically use AI to create whatever widget you want to look at. So all of these were just created by AI, where I said, hey, create a chart that shows me the production for shirt bucks as a line graph and be able to see each employee. And it created this little report showing me exactly what the employees do. So I don't know if anybody else has this laughable scenario, of our employees getting aggressively less efficient as the day goes on. Once again, this is something you can point to and talk to. I don't know if Keith is on here from Clean and Press. This feature came straight from Keith. I thought this was such a great idea, that instead of looking at things by pieces per operating hour, you should be looking at things as second per piece. So this actually shows you, hey, this is how quickly our presser is pressing between each one. And addressing these outliers is where the value is. Addressing the outlier of why did it take 125 seconds? For me, if it's 3 times, why was there, essentially a 5-7 minute gap there multiple times? Those are going to be the things that affect your production efficiency. So just speeding this thing up, it's got a full time system functionality. It's got dashboard analytics for you to be able to see your PPOH by employee in real time. So you can see this is my actual plant for today. It's live, updated by the second. We've got a financial performance analysis tool so that you can go in and put in your information from the POSs, and it's actually calculating your overall labor cost. And showing you where your labor is at compared to the labor goal that you've set for your business so that you can actually be operating with a certain degree of sanity. So that's our production tool. It is in beta with a few dry cleaners right now. Once again, we're just moving slow with it,
And
making
if
sure
anybody wants to join the beta, can they join the beta, or will we have another call that we're going to kind of roll this out to? Do you want anybody to join that beta?
Yeah, we'll be slowly taking people on. So reach out if you're interested in joining that. It can be implemented as simply as with a tablet that you got at your house. You can just download a mobile app and put it on there. If you're interested in the beta, reach out to Sam.
Okay, and go ahead. Sorry, Cohen. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, we don't have a definitive timeline on the launch of this because we just want to make sure we're being as respectful as humanly possible with our launch partners.
Okay, and I think there was one good question before we sign off with Donnie. How many users are included on the $4.99 tier for the route development?
It'll be unlimited. So we just want to make sure that we have something accessible for even the people that are just wanting to get started. So if you got if there's a $30 budget and you want to get started today, we want to be able to have an access point for you. But we certainly, I think it's in most everyone's best interest to be able to choose that higher tier piece and have access to things like a new mover data.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I just want to say, Cohen, you did a great job presenting that. Thank you for sharing that. I think it's a great product that we're rolling out. I know it's probably going to help a lot of dry cleaners over the course of the next number of years. Everybody that's joined us, again, thank you for jumping on, for being a part of this, what we would call our first experience doing a webinar like this. So thank you for jumping on. Sam, anything that you want to close off with?
No, thanks so much for being engaging, guys. We exist to solve problems in this industry. And even though, one of these, the production tool, isn't directly marketing, we're just here to try and bring some value to you guys any way we can. So your feedback obviously goes a long way, which is why we're here. So thanks, guys.
Absolutely. Have a great afternoon. I'll probably talk to many of you guys over the course of the next 30 days, but any questions, please reach out to Sam and we'll make sure that we get those answers to you very quickly. Bye, guys.
Thanks, everybody.